Hi, this is the build video for the Align Trex 470LP. We won't show the full build, but we'll just talk through the bits and pieces as we build it. So we started with the swash plate. Points of note with that, it did come assembled with the ball links in, but they were very loose, and we saw another very good video on the full build, which you'll find on the internet fairly readily. The points of note we had were very strange. It doesn't look like a hex key at all for putting the ball joints in. So we just did it by hand pretty much, or botched in a hex key and then fully tightened them up eventually with a pair of pliers. And that's done the job. We used a Loctite of red, so it's pretty permanent. Again, the video we saw advised us to do that. And that worked well enough. It's just drying off now. But this one we thought, right, if anything's going to go wrong with it, it'll be this longer one. So we've actually used the Loctite with the kit, which we're assuming is a blue Loctite, to tighten that one up. So that's complete and ready to go to the swash plate. Again, the headgear, the main rotor headset, was all assembled, but only loosely. So we've taken that apart, we've laid out on the table here. Main point of note with that was that is super tight, that screw on that end of the feathering shaft. So we've got to assume that that's been Loctited in by the Align Trex company. And we're just about to put it back together. We won't show a full video of it, but we've got the thrust bearings there, which we'll grease up, and then we'll put the Loctite on the end of the screw, that end. Apparently you put it inside the feathering shaft, so that when you're putting the screw in, you don't want to get the Loctite from that onto any of these parts of the bearings here. And that's it for that part of the build, and we'll have that back together shortly. Right, we've got the rotor head build so far now. So we put the main shaft up into the rotor head. There's the screw there and a countersunk nut on the back. So you slot that up first, making sure the aligner's on the lower part of the main shaft there. That was easy enough. You obviously have to put the swash plate on before you start doing things up. We didn't actually apply any Loctite to that screw onto the main shaft there, as advised by the video we saw. So it's just over hand tight sort of thing. Then these two link arms, we took the two little screws out either side on that part, and just put a tiny bit of blue Loctite on those, on both link arms. And then this nut and the that screw and the countersunk nut behind. Just a little tip, make sure you put that nut in deeply enough into that countersunk part there. We didn't have it in quite deep enough at one point, and the screw wouldn't take into it, so we suddenly realised that and pushed that down. That was fine. Again, a little tiny bit of Loctite, blue Loctite on that. We didn't like the head on this hexagonal screw head on this one. We've got a 1.5mm, and the advice was to slightly do up one side, slightly do up the other side, quarter turns at a time. But yeah, seems to, don't know, the head's not very nice on these nuts, I don't think. Okay, we've got a cheap little hexagonal screw set, met our needs. Let's bring that into the shot there. Got a cheap little set, 25 piece, £4.20 in the UK, and this got the sizes we wanted, 1.3, 1.5, the 2 and the 2.5. You get a little 1.3 with the kit, which is quite neat. But yeah, we didn't have the other hexagonal screwdrivers. But yeah, so far so good. Later in the build we realised we'd got that arm slightly wrong, the two arms. So we had from that joint there, we had it going out to the right. It needs to come back across itself so that it can come down and go onto the ball properly there. Just to let you know that now. Right, putting on the ball links to the linkage rods can be really tricky. You get a little tool to do it with. So we can insert that in there. Oops. And then it just twisting on that to attach it to the linkage rod. But that can be really tricky to get that thread going because there's no thread in the actual ball link. So the easiest way is to use a drill, which we've got set up here. We'll show you how to do that. Now it can be tricky as well, knowing which way the thread goes on these linkage rods. So if you just grip it between your nails and then turn it, so you can feel which way your fingernails getting drawn. So we're getting drawn in there when we're going, what's that, anti-clockwise, looking from the top down. So this ball link has got to go anti-clockwise onto there. So to make life easier, use the drill and insert that linkage rod into there and tighten it up. And then on this drill we've got a setting so we can go left or right. So to go anti-clockwise, this has got to come round to the left. So we've got that set up on the left on there. And then there's a speed on here as well, and you can have it really slow. So I'm going to set that up. We'll just turn that on. It can be hands free then, and it's just turning for you. And there's just a question of holding the ball link, holding the drill securely, and push on down like that. And that will start. Yeah, feel that getting a grip. It slows the drill down. So that's on there. We can sort of speed up and go. So that's fully on there now. And then take that out. Actually reverse it. So I'm reversing the direction of this head now. So I'll just quickly get the drill to take this one off. I've taken that one off, so I know that one's done. And then turn this round. It's worth doing that double check again that I'm going to do the other end now, that the thread's going where you think it is. So just feel that. Oh, and this one, so the first one was anti-clockwise, but this is going to go on clockwise, looking down on it. So set the drill up accordingly. So you want it to go, yeah, set up. So this is now going that way round. Just tighten that up again. Again, I can set this drill up to just roll very slowly, hands free effectively. Press that onto there pretty firmly. It slows the drill down a bit, but yeah, you can feel that's got the grip on the thread. And you can just dab the drill. It's fully tightened up. Job done. For starters of building the body, we're just putting the screws in loosely on one side. So we put together the main shaft bearing blocks going downwards there, a frame mounting bolt, just a single one on the LP model, and we're going to go with the gyro mount in position 2 at the back there. There's an alternative to have it elsewhere underneath here, I think, so that just slots into place in those 2 slots there. So that's for starters. So we finished the screws the other side now, so you can see that the whole body together with the 3 main shaft bearing blocks going down through there. Just the 1 support frame mounting bolt on this one, and the gyro holder in place as well there. We noticed it slots in nicely on one side, but doesn't really push all the way through on the other side very well. We could trim it off or widen the holes a bit, but we'll leave that and see how we get on with that and let you know how that goes. Next we put the bottom plate onto the landing skid with the 3 brackets here, frame mounts. Yeah, the longer screws go at the back here, otherwise it's just a question of putting the bottom plate in place and putting the 3 screws in through that. Simple enough. Just make sure you get everything plush onto the actual bottom plate when you put the screws in. Here we've got the landing skid now attached to the frame, so that's a simply case of putting the screws through here and here. So for starters, you just put in the 4 screws to either side, but we put these here just to put them in place, but later on you're going to be using those screws to secure the tail boom brace onto the side of the frame as well. Here we've now mounted the ESC mounting plate here, also acts as the release mechanism for the battery underneath. So that's just 4 screws to either side here. So that's very, very simple.